Hello, my name is Muhammad Adil Chananta, and today I will tell you a story about Pinocchio. So, let's restart it. Pinocchio, in a city, there was a doll shop owned by an old man named Gappetto. He was a wooden puppet maker who lived alone. One day, when he was making a wooden doll, he said, "How happy I am if this doll becomes a kid." After saying that words, there was a miracle. "Papa, good afternoon." The doll suddenly spoke. It was not only spoke, but also walked and acted like humans. Mr. Geppetto was so happy. "From now on, you are my son. I will name you Pinocchio," said Geppetto. The next morning, Mr. Geppetto sold his clothes and bought a book for Pinocchio so that he was able to go to school. "You have to learn seriously with this book." "Thank you, Papa. I will go to school and study hard." "Be careful, my son," said Geppetto. On his way to the school, Pinocchio heard the fierce sound from the opposite direction. From his way to school, drum, dum, dum, dum. Pinocchio was surprised and came closer to the source of the sound. He realized that the sound came from the tent of a puppet show. Pinocchio then sold his books and bought a ticket to get into the show tent. Inside the tent, Pinocchio saw a female doll, being surrounded by a soldier swords. "How cruel they are," thought the Pinocchio. Then he jumped into the stage and crashed the shoulder dolls. The dolls' rope broke and all the dolls fell to the ground. Seeing the incident, the owner of the show was furious and immediately called a Pinocchio. When the owner of the show will toss him into the fire, Pinocchio said, "I'm so sorry, sir. I, if I were burned, how sorry my father is. I have promised him to learn at the school suddenly." The owner of the show felt sorry to hear what Pinocchio said. Finally, he forgave and let Pinocchio go. "Use this money to buy your new book," said the owner of the puppet show. Then Pinocchio wanted to buy a new book, but he met a fox and got in the middle of his own way. They greeted him friendly. "Hey, Pinocchio, if that money increases, surely your dad will be happy," said the fox. "How can it become much more than this?" "Because I want to buy new clothes for my dad," asked Pinocchio. "That is so easy. You can put it under the magic tree and wait till it grows," said the cat. Then they drove the Pinocchio into a magical tree. After arriving in the magical tree, Pinocchio buried his money under the magical tree, and he fell asleep. When Pinocchio was asleep, the fox and the cat digging it, they took all the money and hung Pinocchio on a tree. After waking from his sleep, Pinocchio cried because he had been decided by the fox and the cat. A kind fairy saw him and came to help him. She brought Pinocchio to his home. "Pinocchio, why did you not obey your father to go to the school?" the fairy asked. "I have sold all my books for poor children who hunger and bought them bread. Therefore I could not go to school." Pinocchio lied. Suddenly, Pinocchio's nose began to elongate. Pinocchio, if you lie, your nose will continue to extend all the way to the sky. I'm sorry, I will not lie anymore. Pinocchio apologized. After admitting and apologizing his mistake, Pinocchio nose back into normal. Come and back to school and study hard, asked the fairy. Afterward, Pinocchio continued his way to school, but Pinocchio saw a playground area. He could not resist his desire to go inside and forgot his promise to the fairy. At last, Pinocchio came and played around the park. Pinocchio was having fun and suddenly he was surprised when seeing his face into the mirror. Ah, why my ears look like a donkey ears? I also have a tail, he shouted. All the children who were playing into the playground had a chance into a donkey because they had cursed by a devil witch. Finally, Pinocchio became a donkey and he was sold to the circus. There was always whipped and had to jump over a hot fire circle. Although he was afraid, Pinocchio still jumped. Then he fell, and his legs were broken. It made it made the owner of the circus become angry. It's better throwing you into the sea, he said. Then Pinocchio was thrown into the sea and drowned into the sea floor. Then the fairy became to help Pinocchio. She changed him back to his normal shapes. He was sorry to the fairy and promised not to do it again. Then Pinocchio went home. I have to go home. My dad is at home alone, said Pinocchio. Suddenly the fairy told Pinocchio that his father went to look for him. However, he swallowed into the belly of the whale. Pinocchio was shocked. He went looking for the whales to save his father right away. Finally, Pinocchio met the whales. He came into the whale's belly and met his father there. Papa, let's get out of here, cried Pinocchio. I can go. My body is too weak. You have to go without me, said Geppetto. I do not want to go without you, Papa. When the whale was sleeping, Pinocchio escaped from the whale's mouth by carrying Geppetto on his back. With all his strength, he swam until finally arriving at the beach. Pinocchio took his father home and cared his father until cured. Papa, from now on, I'll be obey all your command, and I will not truant from the school again. I'll go to school and study hard, Pinocchio said. Suddenly, there was a shining light around them. Pinocchio, you have to be a good boy, said the fairy. Then she changed Pinocchio into a human child. Mr. Geppetto and Pinocchio were so happy, and they thanked to the fairy. So, the message of, of a Pinocchio story is that everyone can learn from mistake and become better as long as he has a strong determination to do so and appreciates a positive values such as honesty, loyalty, and a responsibility. So thank you for listening my story about Pinocchio. See you next time.